Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Donna Jurling, life and wealth coach, co-founder of Home Magic, and proud Missouri realtor. Tuning in to something that a message that I received today. Some memory stirred of some stuff that happened in my life and that I had to do that was pretty dramatic for a friend of mine. So the topic is what to do when you find yourself in poo. Don't you love it? That was a polite way of saying it. Oh my God, sometimes I think I'm funny and sometimes I'm not even funny. But anyway, so I want to share something with you. A few years ago, well, not a few years ago, but when I still worked at the corporate bank, I worked at a branch out in St. Peters, Missouri, outside of St. Louis, and I would fill in on Saturdays because my branch where I worked at downtown St. Louis didn't have Saturday hours. So I rotated in on a regular basis at that branch. Well, I ended up becoming the branch manager, but what ended up having to happen to a friend of mine, she ended up getting let go or fired. I don't know what word you want to say, but it was a tough road to hoe because I found myself as a replacement manager for her in a branch that had a lot of great employees and a lot of people that liked her because she was a good operations manager and stuff like that. However, the branch system was changing and loans were being introduced to the branch, and that was not her forte. It was my forte because I had been a lender for 25 years. So, long story short, I went into an environment that was a little not so welcoming because I was the replacement of someone that all the employees loved. And I also felt guilty and bad for her because I liked her too, because I got to see her on Saturdays when I worked there a lot of times because she was still the manager. I was just filling in as a general banker. And long story short, I said that twice now. Anyway, it's still a long story short. About a year after I went into the branch as a bank manager, her and I had an occasion to run into each other at some kind of chamber function or something like that. And the reason I call it what to do when you're in the poo is because it was pretty poopy that I had to, do that to her because she was a friend of mine. Well, she came up to me and I was like trying to avoid talking to her like the plague because I was really feeling bad. She came up to me and she said, "Thank you." And I said, "Okay," because it was very startling. I didn't really expect her to say that. She said, "Thank you. I loved my job until the corporation decided to change it and was forcing me to become a lender. And it wasn't something I was familiar with. It was completely foreign. And I was feeling terrified about the new requirements of the job. And I know I was underperforming, and that's not how she liked to operate." And she said to me, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I didn't think that at the moment. I was very angry and upset, not necessarily with you, but with the company that I had been with for a long time. But in the muck of the poo, it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to her. And that's the story that I want to tell you today, because that's the message, is while you're in the middle of the poo, see how many blessings there are in the poo. So she ended up finding a great job that she was incredibly passionate about. She switched careers completely. She had been kind of in a position for a long time and was, going through the motion. Some of that showed in performance and attitude. So she was just happy as a cat with a new bowl of milk. And I don't know where these sayings come from sometimes. Um, so just bear with me. And I walked away from that conversation. Um, so my lesson in that conversation was see where the blessings are for me as well, because I learned when I went through the layoff or the firing that it was a business decision, not a personal decision, and I had taken it personally. And I also failed to see how there could be good in the poo and blessings in the poo, not only for her, but also for myself. Back to the figure eight, everything dynamically is done in response to something else. So I wanted to share that with you. So if you're going through some poo right now, I would encourage you to take a look at where the good news is. Even when I had some catastrophic things happen to me, look for the good in the poo. Isn't that's almost, and I don't even wear t-shirts. This is a personal joke to a bunch of friends of mine. I don't even wear t-shirts, but if I did wear t-shirts, I think that saying might actually have merit to be on a t-shirt. Look for the good in the poo. Blessings are everywhere. Signing out, Donna Jerling, your life and wealth coach and your profoundly talented Missouri realtor. Amen.